The huge space station floated near the swirling clouds of a giant gas planet. Stars and lights from thousands of ships danced across its metal skin. Ships from every corner of the galaxy came here to trade, talk, and make deals. This place was called Station Epsilon 9, and it belonged to the Galactic Concord, a group of many species who promised peace and fair rules for all. Inside the lower markets, people moved in thick crowds. Aliens of every shape and size pushed past each other. Some had scales, some had feathers, some had too many arms to count. The air smelled of hot food, strange spices, and machine oil. Lights flashed above stalls, selling glowing crystals, rare metals, and foods that looked alive. A small human family walked through the busy path. The father carried bags of cheap supplies. The mother held her daughter's hand tight. The girl was 9 years old. Her name was Leah. She had dark hair tied in 2 short tails, and big, curious eyes. She wore a simple blue coat that was a little too big for her. Leah looked up at everything with wonder. A stall sold tiny flying toys that looked like birds made of light. She pulled her mother's hand and pointed. The mother smiled and said they could look for 1 minute. Leah ran forward a few steps. Her eyes stayed on the bright toys. She did not see the tall figure coming toward her. Sub-Commander Vexara walked with long steps. Her body was covered in hard black armor that shone under the lights. She belonged to the Khazari Dominion, a strong race of insect-like beings with sharp claws and many eyes. Her kind saw most other species as weak and lower. She wore the bright red marks of a high officer on her shoulders. Guards followed her at a distance. They knew better than to walk too close. Leah turned too fast. Her shoulder bumped hard against Vexlara's leg. The tall officer stopped. She looked down at the small human child with cold eyes. Leah looked up and said sorry in a small voice. She stepped back fast. She lifted one armored arm, quick and hard. The back of her claw struck Leah across the face. The hit made a loud crack sound. Leah flew sideways. She crashed into a fruit stall. Wood broke under her body. Bright red fruits rolled across the floor. Leah fell to the ground. Blood came from her mouth and nose. She tried to get up, but her body would not move right. Her jaw hung wrong. One arm bent at a bad angle. She made small hurt sounds, then went still. People around them stopped moving. Some gasped. Some turned away fast. No one stepped forward. The mother screamed and ran to her daughter. The father dropped his bags and followed. They pushed through the crowd and dropped to their knees beside Leah. The mother lifted the girl's head. Blood stained her hands. She cried loud and called for help. The father looked up at Vexlara with wide, angry eyes. Vexlara stared back without feeling. She wiped a small drop of blood from her claw on her armor. She spoke in a hard voice. The child should learn where it belongs. Humans think they can walk anywhere. They are wrong. She turned and walked away. Her guards followed close. The crowd opened a path for her. No one dared to block her way. Station security officers stood nearby. They wore gray uniforms and carried stun sticks. One of them pointed a small camera at the scene. Another spoke into his wrist device. They recorded everything, but did not move to help. No one arrested Vexlara. No one called for a medic right away. The rules of the station said incidents like this needed review first. Humans were new here. They were Class 12 Deathworld adjacent, not important enough for fast action. The mother rocked Leah in her arms. Tears fell on the girl's face. The father pressed cloth to the bleeding wounds. He whispered soft words to keep her calm. Leah's eyes opened a little. She tried to speak but only made weak sounds. Blood bubbled at her lips. The father held her closer. He looked around for help, but the crowd was already moving again. Walked past, like nothing happened. A few humans from nearby stalls came forward. They helped lift Leah. One man ran to get a hover stretcher. Another called for a human doctor who worked in the lower levels. They carried the girl away from the broken stall. The mother walked beside them, holding Leah's small hand. The father followed with tight fists. His face looked hard and dark. Word moved fast through the human parts of the station. People sent messages on small devices. They spoke in low voices. They shared pictures of the hurt child. They wrote short, angry words. One message said, "They hit a child. They hit our child." Another said, "We wait. We watch." Another said, "Not this time." In the upper levels, Vexara entered her private office. She sat in a wide chair made for her size. A screen showed the station feeds. She played the recording of the hit. She watched it again. She made a low clicking sound that was almost a laugh. She sent the video to her friends in the Khazari officer group. Back messages of praise. They said, "Well done." They said humans need lessons. They said keep them small. Vexara leaned back. She felt pleased. The day was normal again. She had shown strength. She had reminded everyone who ruled here. She closed her eyes for a short rest. The lights in her office dimmed low. Down in the human medbay, doctors worked fast. They cleaned the blood. They set the broken bones. They fixed the jaw with metal pins and strong glue. Leah slept under soft lights. Machines beeped slow and steady. The mother sat by the bed holding her daughter's hand. The father stood at the door. He watched the hallway. He spoke quiet to other humans who came to check. They nodded, they listened. They left without loud words. Night came to the station. Lights turned lower in most areas. Ships docked and left. The gas giant outside glowed with soft colors. No one slept easy in the human zones. Parents held their children closer. They checked locks twice. They kept small knives near their beds. They waited. In the quiet dark, a single message left the station. It went out fast toward Earth. It carried no name. It carried few words. It said, "One of ours is hurt. They struck first. Now we know." The stars stayed cold and far. They watched everything. They said nothing. The station turned slow in space. Life went on. Trade continued. Deals were made. But something had changed. In the hearts of humans, a fire started small and quiet. It burned steady. It waited for the right moment. It asked for nothing yet. It only remembered. And memory in humans never fades easy. 3 weeks passed slow on station Epsilon 9. The lower markets stayed busy. Ships came and went. Lights never dimmed much. The gas giant outside kept turning with its endless storms. Life looked normal on the surface. In the human medbay, Leah stayed in a soft bed. Her jaw was wired shut with thin metal. Her ribs were wrapped tight in white bands. She could not talk much. She ate soft food through a tube. The doctor said she would heal clean, but it would take time. Her mother sat by her side every day. She held Leah's hand and sang quiet songs from home. The father came after work. He brought small gifts, a glowing toy bird, a soft blanket with stars on it. He smiled for Leah, but his eyes stayed hard. Up in the Concord offices, the review board met. They watched the video of the hit again. They saw the child fly. They saw the blood. They saw Vexara walk away. One board member, a tall feathered being from the Avari, spoke first. He said the strike was excessive, but not criminal. Within her rights, as patrol officer, humans must teach their young better control. Another member, a scaled one from the Draken worlds, nodded. He said, "Humans are new. They do not know station ways yet. Fine her small amount. Tell the family to watch the child closer. That ends it." The decision came fast. A message went to Vexara. She paid the fine with one quick transfer. It cost less than a good meal for her kind. No apology came. No extra medical help for Leah. The family got a short note from the board. Keep better control of your juvenile. End of message. In the human districts, people read the note on their screens. They shared it in quiet groups. No one shouted. No one broke things. They just looked at each other with calm faces. One old man, who had fought in old Earth wars, said soft, "We wait, we watch." Others nodded. A young mother hugged her own baby tighter. She whispered, "Never again." Quiet changes started, small things at first. Families moved their extra things to hidden storage. Packed bags that stayed ready under beds. Parents taught children new games. Hide and stay silent. Find safe corners fast. Older kids learned to use small tools for locks and lights. They practiced in empty halls. No one spoke loud about it. They just did it. Messages went out from the station, hidden in normal trade data. They traveled fast to human ships, to colonies, to Earth. The words stayed simple. One child hurt. No justice given. We remember. We prepare. No more details came. No calls for help came. Humans did not beg. They stated facts and waited. Vexara felt good about the whole thing. She walked taller in the upper halls. She showed the video to other officers in the Khazari lounge. They gathered around a big screen. They watched the hit again. They laughed with sharp clicks. One officer said, "Look how the little thing flew." Another said, "Humans break easy. They are soft inside." Vexlara lifted her head high. She said, "They learn fast when shown proper place." The group agreed. They drank strong drinks. They toasted to strength. They toasted to order. Other species in the lounge watched from far tables. Some smiled weak. Some looked away fast. A few whispered low. They said maybe the Khazari pushed too hard this time. No one spoke it loud. The Khazari ruled many sectors. No one wanted trouble. Days turned into more weeks. The station kept its rhythm. Trade deals closed. New goods filled the markets. Leah started to sit up. She drew pictures with one hand. Flowers, ships, stars. Her mother hung them on the wall. The father brought her a small music player. She listened to old Earth songs, soft and low. Her eyes looked brighter, but she still flinched at loud sounds. One night in the human zones, a group met in a small room. They closed the door tight. They spoke in whispers. One woman said, "We sent the word home. They know now." A man answered, "Good. They will decide what comes next." Another said, "We stay ready." No one argued. They drank water. They ate simple food. They left one by one. Her routine. She patrolled the upper decks. She gave orders sharp and clear. Her guards followed close. She felt safe. She felt strong. She told stories of the hit to new officers who joined her command. They listened with wide eyes. They wanted to be like her. And one morning, an old freighter came in slow. It flew no flags. It showed human registry, but nothing else. Station control hailed it. No answer came. The ship docked anyway, without permission. Security teams went to board. They expected trouble. They found the cargo hold empty, except one metal crate. Big and plain. It had words on top in plain letters. Delivery for Sub-Commander Vexlara. The security chief called Vexlara. She came fast with her best guards. She stood in front of the crate. Her claws clicked excited. She said, "Open it now. Let us see what the weak ones send as thanks." Two guards lifted the top. The inside was dark at first. Then lights came on slow. A smell came out. Cold and metal and blood. Inside lay a head. Clean lines. No mess. The face belonged to Vexlara's younger sister. A junior officer sent to guard a small frontier post. The eyes stared open wide. The mouth stayed frozen in surprise. A small hollow device sat beside the head. It turned on by itself. A voice spoke calm and flat. No face showed. "You touched one of our children. We return the favor in kind. This is courtesy. The next delivery will not be so polite. End of message." Vexlara stared. She made no sound. Her guards stepped back fast. One made a low, scared click. The security chief ordered the area sealed. He called for high command. The news spread quick through the upper levels. Vexlara looked at the head again. Her sister, her blood, her family. She felt cold deep inside. She turned and walked away fast. Her steps shook a little. The guards followed silent. In the human districts, No one celebrated. No one cheered. They just kept working. They kept watching. They kept waiting. The fire inside them burned steady. Or heads? They did not need to. Everyone knew something had started. The station lights stayed bright. The gas giant turned slow. The stars watched cold and far. They saw everything. They stayed quiet. And in the dark parts of the station, shadows moved just a little faster than before. Panic moved fast through the upper levels of Station Epsilon 9. Officers ran in hallways. Alarms stayed silent, but voices rose sharp. Khazari guards pulled weapons and checked corners. They searched for threats that were not there yet. Vexara stood in her office door. Her face stayed hard, but her claws shook small. She looked at the metal crate again. The head of her sister stared back, empty. High Command called her in quick. They met in a sealed room with thick walls. Screams showed the frontier post where her sister died. The patrol ship floated dead in space. No holes, no burns, life support cut clean. Crew gone without fight. Bodies missing, only the head left behind. Vexlara watched the report. Her voice came low. Who did this? How? A commander from another species answered. We do not know yet. No traces, no signals, no survivors. Vexlara slammed one claw on the table. The sound echoed hard. She said humans. They are weak, they break easy, they cannot do this. Said, maybe. Or maybe we judged wrong. The room went quiet. No one spoke after that. Words spread through the station fast, first to Khazari, then to others. Officers whispered in lounges. Guards stood closer to doors. Traders stopped deals short. Everyone felt the air change thick and heavy. In the human districts things stayed calm. Families went to work. Children played soft. Parents smiled normal, but eyes watched everything. New faces appeared in crowds. Quiet men and women with hard looks. They carried small bags. They spoke little. They blended in. No one asked questions. Then more humans started to vanish. Not loud, not with fights. One family ate dinner. Food stayed warm on the table. Beds looked slept in. Clothes hung neat, but people gone. Another apartment emptied same way. Toys left on floor. Soup cooled in bowls. No signs of struggle. No blood. No noise. Just empty spaces where families used to live. Security checked cameras. Nothing showed. No doors opened. No shadows moved. Stayed clean. Humans disappeared like smoke. Station logs said they never left, but they were not there anymore. Vexlara demanded more guards. She locked her quarters tight. She slept little. She walked with double teams. She checked every face. She saw humans everywhere now, in markets, in halls, in shadows. She felt their eyes on her back. She told herself it was nothing. She told herself humans feared her kind, but the cold feeling grew. The second crate came 2 days later. It arrived same way. Unmarked freighter, no clearance, docked quiet. Security opened the hold, same metal box, same plain words. Delivery for Subcommander Vexlara. Vexlara went herself this time. She brought 20 guards, heavy weapons, ready for fight. The crate sat alone in the empty bay. Lights hummed low. She ordered it open slow. The top lifted. A smell hit first, stronger than before. Blood and cold metal. Inside rested another head, perfect cut, eyes open wide, mouth set in shock. It was her mother. The face Vexlara knew. From childhood. The face that taught her strength. The face now still, forever. A hollow device glowed beside it. It played automatic. A calm voice spoke again. We are counting downward. You have sisters, mothers, daughters. Choose wisely. End of message. Vexlara stepped back. Her legs felt weak. Guards caught her arms. She pushed them away hard. She stared at the head. Her mother, her blood, her beginning. Gone. The room spun slow. She made a low sound. Not words, just pain. The news hit the Concorde fast. Delegates met in the Grand Assembly Chamber. They argued loud. Some said punish humans, some said talk first, some said wait and see. No one knew what came next. Security teams rushed to Vexara's family estate on the Khazari homeworld. They found the place quiet. Guards dead in a perfect circle, each body whole except the neck. Clean cut, no fight marks, the mother gone, only the head sent. The estate cameras showed nothing. Shadows moved fast, then nothing. Guards fell one by one. No attacker seen. Weapon flash. Just silence and death. Vexara watched the feed in her office. She sat alone now. Guards waited outside. She played it again and again. She saw her mother walk in the garden. She saw the shadow pass. She saw the body drop. She closed her eyes tight. Tears came rare for her kind, but they came now. In the human medbay, Leah drew more pictures. She made a flower with 8 petals. She gave it to her mother. The mother smiled weak. She said, "Beautiful baby." Leah nodded slow. Her jaw hurt less now. She asked soft, "When do we go home?" The mother stroked her hair. "Soon," she said. "Soon." The father met with others in a back room. They spoke quiet. One man said the crates landed good. Another said they no fear now. A woman said, "We stay ready. More may come." They nodded. They planned. They waited. Vexara walked the halls again. She kept her head high. She gave orders sharp, but her voice cracked small. Guards noticed. They said nothing. She felt eyes everywhere. Human eyes. She turned fast. There. She walked faster. Nights grew longer on the station. Lights dimmed low. Ships docked quiet. The gas giant glowed outside, cold and far. The stars watched steady. They saw the fear. They saw the waiting. They said nothing. In the dark corners of the lower levels, small groups met. They checked weapons. They checked maps. They checked names. They spoke one word over and over. Patience. Vexara sat in her chair late one night. She stared at empty space. She thought of her sister. She thought of her mother. She thought of the small human child. She felt no regret for the hit. She felt only cold rage. She whispered low, "You will pay. You will all pay." But deep inside, something small whispered back, "Maybe not. Maybe you pay first." The station turned slow. Life went on. Trade slowed. Deals waited. The air stayed thick. No one slept easy. No one felt safe. And somewhere in the black between stars, a small ship moved silent. It carried no name. It carried no flags. It carried purpose. It waited for the next step. Vexara moved to the central command spire of Station Epsilon 9. She took the strongest room at the top level. Thick walls, blast-proof doors that sealed with heavy locks. She brought 50 guards from different species. Khazari, Dracon, Avari. Even some hired mercenaries with big guns. They stood in lines. They checked weapons. They watched every door, every vent, every shadow. Vexara sat in the main chair. She stared at screens that showed the whole station. She waited. She did not sleep much. Outside the station, sensors blinked. A small ship appeared on radar. One human corvette. Old design, small hull, no big guns showing. It moved fast, too fast for its size. Control hailed it many times. No answer came. Warning shots fired across its path. The ship ignored them. It came closer, steady, calm, like it owned the space. The corvette stopped right in front of the main docking bay. No weapons fired, no pods launched, no noise at all. It just hung there, black against the stars. The station shook small from the sheer presence. The sudden stop. Guards in the spire looked at each other, confused. One said, "What now?" Vexara answered, "Quiet. Watch." Then every hollow screen in the station turned on at once. Markets, halls, offices, lounges, even personal devices, all showed the same feed. No warning, no hack trace. The picture came clear. A human in full helmet and dark armor stood in a room that looked just like Vexara's private office. The same desk, the same lights, the same view of the gas giant outside. The figure stepped to the side slow. On the polished floor in front of the desk rested a head, fresh cut, neck clean, eyes wide open, mouth open in silent scream. It wore the bright red crest of Sub-Commander. The face belonged to Vexara, her own head. The body sat slumped in the chair behind the desk, neck empty, blood pooled neat under the chair. No struggle marks, no fight, no mess. The helmeted figure did not speak at first. The camera stayed steady. Then the calm voice came again. Message delivered. Demonstration of restraint. Touch our children again, and we stop restraining. End of message. The feed cut black. Screens went dark for 3 seconds. Then normal feeds returned. People in the market screamed. Some ran, some froze. Guards in the spire stared at Vexara. She sat still. Her claws gripped the chair arms hard. Her eyes stayed wide. She looked at her own empty neck on the screen. She touched her own throat slow, like she checked it was still there. A guard ran to her side. He said, "Sub-Commander, we must check your quarters now." Vexara stood fast. She said, "Go, all of you, go now." The team moved quick. They ran through halls. They passed confused officers. They reached her private office. The door stayed sealed. They forced it open with tools. Inside, the lights burned low. The desk sat empty. The chair held her body, slumped forward. Head gone. Neck cut perfect. Blood on the floor in a small pool. No other wounds, no broken things, no sign of entry. The room smelled of blood and nothing else. Guards stood frozen. One made a low sound. Another turned away. Vexara stayed in the spire. She watched the body cam feed from her office. She saw her own corpse. She felt cold deep in her chest. She whispered, "No." No one heard. She sat down slow. Her guards closed around her tighter. They said, "We protect you. We stay here." She nodded once, but her eyes looked far away. In the Grand Assembly Chamber, the delegates watched the same feed live. They sat in their high seats. They stared at the screen where the head appeared at their feet on the holofeed. One delegate, a tall Avari, stood up. He said, "This cannot stand. Humans must answer." Another, a Drakon, said, "Answer how?" They took no damage. They left no trace. A third said, "We reclassify them now. Class 1 Deathworld Apex. No debate." The chamber buzzed loud. Voices rose. Arguments flew. But fear sat under every word. They knew the small ship still waited outside. No one dared fire on it. No one dared board it. Down in the human medbay, Leah sat up in bed. She drew a picture of a ship with stars around it. Her mother watched quiet. The father came in fast. He looked at his wife. He said, "It is done." The mother asked soft, "Is she safe?" The father nodded. He said, "Safer now." The girl looked up. She asked, "What happened?" The father smiled small. He said, "Grown-up things, baby. Go back to drawing." In the lower markets, humans walked normal again. Some smiled quiet. Some nodded to each other. No one spoke of the head. No one cheered. They just kept living. They kept watching. They kept ready. The Corvette outside turned slow. It moved away from the station. No rush, no hurry. It slipped into the dark between stars. It left no trail, no signal, no goodbye. Vexara stayed in the spire for hours. Guards brought food. She did not eat. They brought water. She did not drink. She stared at the empty space where her head used to be on the screen. She thought of her sister. She thought of her mother. She thought of the small child with the broken jaw. She felt no sorry, felt only empty. Night came to the station. Lights dimmed low. The gas giant glowed soft outside. The stars stayed cold. They watched the spire. They watched the empty office. They watched the small ship long gone. They said nothing. Guards stood watch. They waited for the next thing. They feared it would come. They feared it would not come. Vexara closed her eyes. She saw the helmeted figure again. She saw her own head on the floor. She heard the voice. Message delivered. The station turned slow in space. Trade started again, slow. Deals opened careful. Ships docked quiet. Life tried to go back. But everyone knew. Something broke. Something changed. Humans did not shout. They did not demand. They just acted, and the galaxy felt the weight of that silence. In the dark, a new word spread quiet. Deathworlders, remember. Do not touch their young. The fire in human hearts burned steady. It did not need more fuel. It only needed time. And time always came. The Grand Assembly chambers stayed quiet for the first time in many years. Delegates from every major species sat in their curved seats. They looked at the polished floor in the center. A small metal plaque now rested there, embedded deep so no one could remove it. The words on it read, "Herein lies the consequence of harming the young of soul." No one spoke against it. No one tried to vote it away. The plaque stayed. 72 hours after the head appeared, the Galactic Concord issued a new bulletin. It went to every station, every ship, every world. Humans moved from Class 12 Deathworld, adjacent to Class 1 Deathworld, Apex Predator. The change came fastest in history. No hearings, no long debates, just one short message. Effective immediately, all protocols updated. Humans now ranked with the most dangerous known beings in the galaxy. Khazari Dominion felt the hit hardest. Nobles met in secret rooms on their homeworlds. They pointed fingers at Vexara. They called her reckless. Actions brought shame. They started purges, quiet ones at first. Officers who praised her vanished from posts. Friends who laughed at the video found new assignments far away. Vexara herself disappeared from public view. Some said she hid in a secure bunker. Others said she took her own life with honor blade. No one knew for sure. No one asked loud. Several Khazari worlds sent quiet payments to Leah's family. Credits appeared in accounts, medical funds, extra supplies. No messages came with the money. No apologies. Just numbers that grew big enough to rebuild a life. The family took it. They used it. They said nothing back. In the human medbay, Leah walked short steps now. Her jaw moved better. She spoke clear words again. She laughed soft at small jokes. Her mother helped her dress in clean clothes. Her father carried her bag. They left the bay together. They walked through lower halls. Humans nodded as they passed. No big cheers, just quiet respect. Eyes that said welcome back. Stall. She looked at the same glowing toy birds that started it all. She pointed one out. Her father bought it, without question. He handed it to her. She held it tight. She smiled wide. The family kept walking. They headed to a shuttle bay. A ship waited to take them home. Leah looked up at her parents. She asked one question. Did they say sorry? Her father thought for a moment. He answered soft. They will not ever need to again. Leah nodded. She understood more than her age should allow. She squeezed the toy bird. It flew in small circles above her hand. She watched it, happy. Back in the Grand Assembly, the plaque stayed clean. Delegates walked past it every day. They stepped careful. No one wanted to stand on it. No one wanted to touch it. Children from other species learned new rules from parents. Be kind to humans, especially their children. The Deathworlders watch. They remember. Parents told stories at night, soft voices in dark rooms. Do not push, do not hit, do not mock. The small ones look weak, but the adults do not forgive easy. Traders changed how they acted with humans. Deals closed faster. Discounts appeared without asking. Ships gave right-of-way in lanes. No one tested boundaries anymore. The galaxy learned one clear lesson. Humans did not need big fleets or loud threats. They needed only reason. And when reason failed, they answered with silence that scared more than any war cry. Station Epsilon 9 kept turning. Trade grew again, lights burned bright. Ships docked and left. The gas giants spun slow outside. But the air felt different now. Thicker with respect, thicker with caution. Guards watched humans closer, not with suspicion, with care. They knew better than to stare too long. They knew better than to speak sharp. In quiet corners of the station, old humans sat together. They drank simple drinks. They shared stories. One man said, "Remember when we were class 12? Another laughed low, "We still are, just they know it now." A woman added, "And they fear it." Cups. They drank slow. They remembered. Far from the station, in the black between stars, human ships moved normal again. Freighters carried goods. Corvettes patrolled quiet. No flags, no boasts, just work. But every captain knew. Every crew knew. One rule stayed iron. Never let harm come to the young. Not one bruise, not one tear. The galaxy watched now, and humans watched back. Leah sat in her new room on a colony world. She looked out a window at green fields and blue sky. She held her toy bird. It still flew perfect. She thought of the station. She thought of the pain. She thought of the silence that followed. She smiled small. She whispered thank you. To no one. To everyone. To the ones who acted so she never had to hurt again. Years passed slow. The plaque stayed in the chamber. New delegates came. They learned the story. They passed it on. No one removed it. No one forgot it. The words stayed sharp. Herein lies the consequence, and in every human heart, the fires stayed alive. Small, steady, ready. It did not burn hot every day. It waited. It remembered. It protected. The stars watched on, cold and far. They saw the change. They saw the quiet strength. They said nothing, because some things needed no words. The end came not with fire, not with explosions, not with armies marching. It came with one small head placed gentle on cold stone. It came with a voice that spoke calm. It came with eyes that never blinked. It came, and the galaxy listened. And after that listening, nothing stayed the same.